Go.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Zoom training on geographic farming. Your management team is committed to giving you tools that you can use to generate leads. And geographic farming is one of the best ways that you can generate leads on a long-term scale. So why are real estate farms so effective? It's because geographic farming is a powerful approach to leading prospecting. It allows you to zero in on your audience and forces you to laser focus on your marketing messages. First, you want to plant some seeds of transactions by identifying homes in a particular area that would be excellent candidates for a sale one day. Then you want to nurture those seeds by establishing a relationship in the neighborhood with owners of homes through regular communication and community involvement. Finally, when it comes time to those owners to sell their home, you're the one that's going to harvest that sale. So how much does it cost to start a farming geographic farm? Well, there's definitely some costs. You'll probably set up a Facebook page, and that Facebook page is free. It's just your work to get that done. There's 8 months of regular scheduled postcards. So if your farm is about 250 homes, you're going to do that 8 times. And if you do the cost of that, that's about $1,260. You're going to do updated postcards at least once a month for 250 homes. That's about $1,500. And then you're going to do 4 months of regular scheduled letters 4 times a year, and that's about $550. And then you're going to do 3 events. And I'll give you some examples of events when we get a little further into this course. So the total to start your geographic farm for the year is going to be about $5,800. So when you're picking a farm, you're going to want to make sure that there's some turnaround in that farm. So you're going to do the statistics and make sure that there's at least a 5% turnaround in that group of homes. So you're going to pick a track, you're going to pick the streets, you're going to do the research on them, and hopefully between 5 and 10 homes will sell in that neighborhood in any given year. And so when you establish a relationship with those people, you will be the one that they'll come to first, because they'll trust you and know that you're working hard to keep the values in that property geographical area up. You want to assume the median house price. Let's just assume the median house price is $250,000. Your farm is functioning moderately, and you're capturing about 25% of the sales in that neighborhood. You're closing the properties about 4 a year, which would equal to about $30,000. So spending $5,800 to get $30,000 is probably good investment on your farm. Important things to consider when choosing real estate farm is you want to farm somewhere where you're comfortable, somewhere where you know the area. So you may want to choose your own area where you live to farm. You may want to choose a condo complex that you're familiar with, or you may want to choose more than one condo complex. Otherwise, you want to do single family homes. You want to do a farm area that you have some name recognition. So whether you live in the neighborhood and you're the neighborhood expert because you live there and you know what's going on in that neighborhood, that would be a good choice to pick that farm area. You always want to pick between 250 and 300 homes in a farm area, because you're going to personalize each one of those homes and make sure that you get to know the people that live in that neighborhood. You're also going to choose a farm area that has turnover, like I said before. So you're going to spend some time on the multiple listing service, and you're going to do CMAs in that neighborhood to see how many homes have actually sold in the last 2 to 5 years, so that you have a percentage of homes that are turning over. You're going to want to know who lives in that area. Are they executives? Are they just people that have lived there for 35 years? Are they new families? You're going to want to know all of that. So once you've picked your farm area and you've done your homework and you've done your research, then you can start beginning to farm that particular area. So there are geographic elements to your farm area that's going to affect the saleability of the neighborhood. For instance, there are homes in the neighborhood with private frontage, or maybe backs up to water, or that's close to a beach or a lake. You're going to want to know if that neighborhood is close to a freeway, or if some of the backyards back up to an easement. You're going to want to know everything about that particular neighborhood once you've established which one you're going to choose. You're also going to check out all of the amenities to that neighborhood. So is there a grocery store close by? Is there a great restaurant close by? Those are the people that you're going to connect with as well, and maybe do some co-marketing with that farm area. You're going to want to know all the floor plans in your geographical farm area. You're going to want to know how long people have lived there. You're going to want to know how many kids are in the neighborhood and what kids are doing for fun. You may want to establish your event that you're going to do in that neighborhood geared towards kids. Or if there's not many kids, you're going to gear it towards maybe a neighborhood watch or something like that. Once you have spent some time learning about the landscape of the neighborhood, you're going to learn about the properties themselves. So you're going to know the ones that have been upgraded. You're going to know the ones that need work. You're going to know the medium lot size. You're going to know the typical style of home in that neighborhood. You're going to know the home dimensions and the features, and you're going to know the medium price in that neighborhood. So when you identify the baselines of these items, you're going to find that the neighborhood has got its own unique style to it, and you'll start to get to know the neighbors in that neighborhood. Having insider knowledge of the homes is a huge advantage when you've got a buyer in mind who wants to be in that particular neighborhood. Given you are starting to establish relationships there, you're going to want to know when somebody's thinking about moving way before they actually put their home on the market. You can very well call yourself the real estate expert in that neighborhood because you're going to know how many properties have sold. You're going to know how many properties may be coming on the market, and you're going to know any of the little tricks of that neighborhood. You're going to also know what type of demand is in that neighborhood. And you're also going to want to know who your competition is in that neighborhood. So you're going to want to know who are the realtors that are already working that neighborhood, and know who your competition is. It doesn't mean that you can't pick that neighborhood. It just means that you will have some competition, and you'll need to know who that competition is. So the absorption rate of a neighborhood. The absorption rate helps you predict the number of months worth of inventory exists in a particular neighborhood. It's a powerful statistic to have at your fingertips when you're discussing the real estate market in that neighborhood. So to calculate the absorption rate in your farm area, you're going to take the number of average active listings in the last month. You're going to take the number of solds in the last month, and then you're going to calculate the absorption rate, which is how many months of inventory is in that farm area. Between 4 and 6 months worth of inventory is considered a balanced market, less is considered a seller's market. And we all know we're in a seller's market now. So for example, you say your farm area has 20 homes actively for sale in the last month and 6 closings in the last year. So you take that 20 active listings, your 6 closed sales, and you would have 3.3% inventory per month in that neighborhood. If you don't have much data to work with, you're going to find neighbors similar to yours that have more listings and sales to calculate the inventory and the numbers. So you're going to go to the next neighborhood and go out a square mile and then go out another square mile until you get some statistics. You also need to know the turnover rate. So the turnover rate helps you understand the external market forces in your farm area. The turnover rate measures the number of homes in your farm that sell in a given time compared over the normal number of homes. For example, you've got a farm area of 300 homes and last year 20 of them sold. So 20 sales of 300 homes is a 6.6% turnover rate. A high turnover rate is great for real estate agents because it means that there will be more transactions to close, but it isn't necessarily a red flag. A lower turnover rate just means underserved market, especially the absorption rate of the likely neighborhoods is high, and you would be a major opportunity for yourself as an agent. So the turnover rate of between 5 and 10% is considered average for any neighborhood. Combining the absorption rate and the turnover rate, using your turnover and absorption calculations, you can begin to estimate the potential income from a neighborhood farm. Using the example above, the particular neighborhood has a turnover rate of about 20 homes a year, and the market shows no signs of slowing demand. Then the higher function farm grabs 40% of the sales in that neighborhood to see the transactions from it. So you just need to know what your absorption rate is and what your turnover rate is before you actually pick a farm. When you pick a farm, you're going to pick that farm and work it for at least 3 to 5 years. So you're making a commitment to those neighbors and making sure that they know that you're the local expert in the area and that you can answer any questions that they may have if they're thinking of putting their home on the market. So you'd be the one that would actually get that phone call. The demographic research, when you do the demographic research, you're going to understand the people who live in the neighborhood. You're going to know the average age of the neighborhood. You're going to know the family status of the neighborhood, what education level they are, what is their preferred methods of communication. So are they going to want you to knock on their door, text them, email, send a video, whatever the case may be? How are you going to communicate with them? Are you going to send a newsletter? Are you going to send just sold? Are you going to knock on doors and leave something of value? All of these things need to be planned out. And then you may want to do a social media campaign for that neighborhood. The market is going to tell when it comes to a number of homes that will sell in a particular neighborhood. You're going to understand the audience that you are working with and understand what their needs are, just like you would with any client. So from a marketing strategy, now you know all the important information when you're picking your farm. It's time to start planning out your message strategy and actually release the communication out to the neighborhood. So the most important things that you want to do is you want to provide value to that client. Every message you send out must provide some sort of value to the people that is reading it. If it doesn't have some value each time, but there should be something that the receiver walks away from your message, either by reading it or by texting or dropping a note. they're going to want to know what's in it for them. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why should they list with you? Every message must have a call to action. Almost as important as a value to call to action, every message must send to your farm must contain a directive, push down the funnel, even if the push is incredibly small or discreet. You're going to want to have them have a reason to call you. So you may want to push out a new restaurant or push out a new grocery store that's around. The other thing you want to do is have statistics for them. So if somebody calls you, you're going to want to know that CMA almost as off the top of your head, so that they know that you know what's going on in that neighborhood. And your message must be consistent. So if you are consistently working your farm, most agents will at least touch their farm once a month to make sure that they have the information that you want them to have as what's going on in the market. So when you're creating your schedule for your farm, you're going to want to put a website together. You're going to want to keep that website current. You're going to want to do social media posts, and I would post at least once a week. Something exciting happening in the neighborhood. Maybe Santa is coming to town. Maybe there's a new restaurant, like I said. You're going to want to do property updates. So if something has sold in the neighborhood or something has been listed, you're going to want to update them and keep them actively engaged in the comps there. You may want to door knock it. In this environment that we have with COVID, you can't necessarily door knock. You can leave a flyer still, but you may not engage in conversation with them at this point. And then you may want to do an event, whether it sponsors a kid's baseball team, whether you do a barbecue, you can do a bounce house if there's a playground area, or have somebody do it at the end of a cul-de-sac. That would be a great way to do that. So there's all kinds of things you can do to get to know that neighborhood and show them that you are the professional and you are the expert. I have put a list together, which I will email you, of some of the things that have been done in a farm area. You can have a local food drive. If you have a local food drive, Trader Joe's will provide any and all of the bags that you will need in order to do your food drive. So to do that, you just need to make a flyer, put it on the front of the bag, and drop it by the house, and then come back when the bag has been full and make arrangements for food share to pick it up. Another thing is to collect blankets and winter coats for homeless shelters in the area and have your clients participate in that. You can have a drawing for a big ticket item like an Apple Watch if they participate in your event. You can organize an annual garage sale. You can create a vendor directory. Use the talent in your farm. If you've got a handyman or an attorney or a CPA, a school teacher, a babysitter, any of those, you can create a directory that you keep on top of and hand that out as one of your items of value to that farm area. Let them know what's going on around town. If there's new restaurants, if there's a new meet and greet, if there's an educational webinar, you can be the one to give them that news. Once I've done at least one walk through the neighborhood and I've talked to several of them, I want to send a CMA to each one of them. So you may want to deliver that in person as a drop-off, or you may want to talk to them in person. I would create a Facebook page for the neighborhood so that they can all participate. and get to know each neighbor in the neighborhood. You can have a block party. You can create a website for the neighborhood so that everybody can participate. You can share advice in a local newspaper. So if you had a condominium complex you were working on, you might want to create a newsletter for that complex or join the one that's already there and be that expert in that area. You may want to create a coupon with a local business and help the business stay in business and have you be the one to deliver that coupon. You may want to do a home improvement seminar. Lowe's will help with that. And they also give out discounts to the people that come to those seminars. So you may be the one to organize that. You may want to find out what local charity is most popular in the neighborhood and then do an event for that charity. Around the holidays, there's all kinds of things you can do. You can give a list of all the boutiques in town. You can set up Santa pictures for the kids and get your team involved with that. So get your one team involved with that and have your escrow officer and your title rep and possibly your home warranty company get involved with that and help with the cost. Give them an event sheet that says what's going on in the city during the holidays, or adopt a family in the neighborhood farm area. All of those things are good ideas and things that you can do. And a couple things that you may want to do when you're doing your farm is you always want to make sure that you dress professionally when you're walking your farm. You always want to give them something of value. And you always want to make sure that if you knock on the door, that you step 2 steps back from that door so that you're not right in their face when they open the door. You always want to introduce yourself and you always want to keep the conversation brief. You always want to be friendly and upbeat. You want people to work with you. You always want to know the floor plans and the square footage of the models in your farm area. And for goodness sakes, don't walk on their grass. Use the sidewalks. I'll never forget when I first started selling real estate that I walked across the grass and right up to the front door. And that was the first thing they said to me, please don't walk on my grass. So just be courteous, respect their property, and make sure that you are following all the protocol if you're doing it during this time with COVID, because we want to keep everybody safe. So are there any questions that anybody might want to ask? Karen, if you can take people off mute and see if there's any questions. No? Okay, well, that is how you set up a geographical farm and how you start working it to your advantage. And like I said, you want to make sure that you make a commitment to that particular area once you've made the decision to do that farm of at least 2 to 5 years. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time very much, and I hope you have a great day.